Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Welcome to our program on Srimad Bhagavatam study. And in today's class, we are going to have a small quiz from Canto 2, chapter number 6 to 10. In this quiz, we are going to cover some short answer type questions. These questions were published 1 week ago. They were given to our regular devotees who attend our program, who attend our classes, mainly from the objective of for them to reflect on those questions, write their answers on those questions, and submit it to us for our review. But more than our review, it is mainly to give the practice and the revision to the devotees on the various themes that were discussed in the Canto 2 from chapter 6 to 10. So some of your devotees have submitted it. I really appreciate your participation. Rakesh ji, Jivan ji, Vidya ji, Ishwar ji. Specifically, I know these 4 devotees who have done it. Other devotees whom I may not have taken the name may kindly let me know. So thank you very much. Overall, this is our 86th class. And in this workshop, in this quiz, we are going to discuss those questions that were given as a quiz to all the devotees. Before that, we do a Mangala Charan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्योत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। So once again, welcome to our quiz based on Canto 2, chapter number 6 to 10. Today, in today's program, we are going to discuss the short answer type questions. So there were overall 6 short answer type questions that were published to the devotees. We will start with the first question, which is about Ekpad Vibhuti and Tripad Vibhuti. So the question is, write the differences between Ekpad Vibhuti and Tripad Vibhuti. So the way we will organize this quiz is, we will give opportunity to one of the devotees who would like to explain this question or the answer to this question, and then we will give maybe few minutes to the devotee to explain the answer, and then we will summarize by presenting the way I have prepared the answer to this question. So anyone who would like to volunteer to present the answer to this question?
I can start doing that.
Okay, so we have 2 devotees, but let us give the preference to Jivan Prabhu, being our senior person. So Jivanji, would you like to present? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, write the difference between Ekapada and Tripada Vibhuti, sir. Actually, Bhagavan Krishna is not only the Lord of material world, but of the spiritual world. This is the similarity. Actually, this is where he is the Lord of both spiritual world and material world. Material world is only 1/4 of the Ekapada Vibhuti of his energy, whereas the spiritual world is 3/4 of his energies. Then I am just giving the differences. I am first giving the quality. Then Ekapada, what is the remark, and then Tripada, what is the remark? I am just giving it. Cycle of birth and death in Ekapada present. In Tripada it is absent. Then about the residents of Ekapada, and here residents of Grahapada, this Ekapada Vibhuti are Grahamedis are they don't practice vows of celibacy. That is brahmacharya. And Tripada, there is no question of birth or death. The third point is Lord's inclination. In Ekapada is not inclined, and Tripada is inclined. Then also the soul nature. Actually, in Ekapada, the soul wants to lord over the material nature, whereas in Tripada, he performs, the soul performs devotional service. And then fear. What is the extent of fear? Prayer is present in Ekapada, and Tripada absolutely no this thing, it is absent. Forgetfulness present due to avidya in Ekapada Vibhuti, and not present because everybody's knowledge vidya is there. Then the souls less in number in Ekapada, and in Tripada it is innumerable number of people, souls. Then here the Ekapada, it is Satchidananda, this thing. That is meager. Meager is there is absolutely nothing practically meager, and it is Tripada is full of Satchidananda. And Lord is the path of enjoyment, that is jivas with ignorance, and liberation jivas with knowledge. That is happening in that. Lord is also free from Ekapada, remains in spiritual world, though he creates and maintains Chatushloki. The maintains Ekapada through his energies. These are all the points which I have given.
Okay, Prabhuji, very nice, very nicely covered. So I will also now present the question, the answer to this question, that the way I have presented it, there is a slight difference between the way I presented and Jivan Prabhu has presented, but ultimately the objective is to benefit you, the devotees who are attending this program. Now, let me give you a little background to it. Since it is a question from chapter number 6, this is a question from chapter number 6, you can see here. So it is all about creation, Sarga and Visarga. So what happens is in these chapters, the process of creation has been mentioned. First of all, process of material creation has been mentioned. And while describing the process of material creation, Lord Brahma gives several details to his son Narada. And after explaining the very lot of details about the material creation, then he ultimately also explains that don't think, my dear son, that everything in this material nature is only in this material nature is coming from the Supreme Lord, because Supreme Lord is not only the master of the material creation or the source of material creation, but actually he is the source of the spiritual creation also. And that is where the discussion from material creation moves towards spiritual creation, and there is a kind of a comparison that happens in the samvad, that happens in the dialogue between Brahmaji and Naradji, between what does it mean for the material creation and what does it mean for the spiritual creation. So the word pad means 1/4. So ek pad means only 1/4, only one 1/4 vibhuti, and tripad means 3/4, 3/4 vibhuti, 3/4 vibhuti of the Lord. So the difference between ekpad vibhuti, tripad vibhuti, So the way I have explained it is, Ekpad Vibhuti is actually 1/4 of the Lord's energy, which is material manifestation. And Tripad Vibhuti means 3/4 of Lord's energy, which is the spiritual manifestation. So material manifestation is the material creation in the world that we live, or in the cosmos that we live. And 3/4 of Lord's energy is spiritual. So beyond this material, there is a spiritual world. That is the 3/4. That is called Tripad Vibhuti. So that is one difference. The difference is, one is material, another is spiritual. Then the second difference is, Ekpad Vibhuti is characterized by death. So in this material existence, we will see death. And because we will see death, we will also see birth. But in Tripad Vibhuti, there is deathlessness. And it is known as Amritam. Amrit means immortality, no death. Then Ekpad Vibhuti is characterized by misery. We will see old age, disease. Death we already covered here in the second point, but misery, other forms of misery are old age and disease. But in Tripad Vibhuti, it is characterized by happiness. There is no misery. Imagine if there is no death, there is no disease, there is no old age. Don't you think everyone will be happy? Because there is nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about old age. There's nothing to worry about death. There's nothing to worry about disease. So, Tripad Vibhuti is characterized by happiness, kshemam. Then, Ekpad Vibhuti is characterized by fearfulness, because there are miseries, there is death, old age, disease, there's always fearfulness. But Tripad Vibhuti is characterized by fearlessness, abhayam. There is nothing to worry about, no fear. Ekpad Vibhuti is characterized by birth. Tripad Vibhuti is characterized by birthlessness, because there is no death, there is no birth. So everything is eternal there. There is no change of bodies, nothing like that. Then more differences. Ekpad Vibhutis, the people or the residents of material existence generally are Graha Medhis. Generally are Graha Medhis. Graha Medhis means they are mostly interested in their selfish pursuits of family, society, etc., etc. But in Tripad Vibhutis, they are not in terms of enjoying, but they are brahmacharis. Brahmacharis means they are mainly interested in spiritual pursuits. That is the difference between the residents, the orientation of residents in Ekpad Vibhuti and Tripad Vibhuti. Then Ekpad Vibhuti is driven by ignorance, avidya. And what is this avidya? They are unaware about the higher purpose of life, which is becoming the devotee of the Lord. That is the topmost purpose of the life. They are driven by ignorance. They don't know. Most of the people don't know about it. But in Tripad Vibhutis, they are driven by vidya. They are actually already the bhaktas of the Lord. That is why they are in spiritual world. So from these points, I think you can understand the difference between Ekpad Vibhuti and Tripad Vibhuti, which comes in the 6th chapter of the 2nd canto. And the idea is mainly to explain that Lord is not only the master of the material existence, but he's also the master of the spiritual existence. In order to emphasize that point, Brahmaji explains this to his son Narad Muni. Okay, now we go to the next question. Understand the Lord. How can one can and can't understand the Lord? So this is from the 7th chapter, verse 40 to 46. And now I think we give opportunity to Rakesh ji. Rakesh ji, have you attempted this question? Would you like to present it?
After Brahmaji described all Leela avatars of the Lord to Narad Muni, he said that no one can describe Lord's greatness. Even the scientists who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so. He gives example of Vaman avatar. In Vaman avatar, it is only Lord only who moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet Satyaloka. Brahmaji says that neither I know him completely nor all the sages born before you. So how can other who are born after us know about him?
Hmm.
Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Sesha Avatar, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge.
Hmm.
But then he says, but anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord because of his unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord,
Hmm.
he can understand the Lord.
Hmm.
But those who are attached to the body cannot do so. He further says that even lower people such as women, labor class, etc., and even the birds and beasts can also understand the Supreme Lord by surrendering unto the pure devotees of the Lord and following in their footsteps in devotional service.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So very nice, Prabhuji. Now, what I would suggest, Rakesh ji gave a good answer, but in your answer, if you can also kind of give one word or identify different themes, like for example, when you mentioned that the scientist cannot understand the Lord, all even if they have the ability to count the atomic particles in this world. So what exactly are we trying to say is that we cannot understand the Lord simply by material advancement. Material advancement means if we have the capability that we can count all the atoms of this world, it is a very difficult task. Even if we have that capability, it is a very great capability. It is a very special capability. So even if we have that special capability, we cannot understand the Lord. So material advancement or material skill or intelligence, we cannot understand the Lord from material advancement. So that is one point. Second point is even person as close as Anant Shesha are not able to fathom the glories of the Lord. Sometimes people who are closely associated with the Lord, even they cannot understand the Lord fully. We also see that in Brahma Vimohan Leela. So Brahmaji is the devotee of the Lord, but sometimes the devotees of the Lord also can get bewildered. So that is another point. Even if you are a close associate of the Lord, even then you are not able to understand the Lord by your own effort. So one owns endeavor, one cannot understand the Lord, even if he is one close associate of the Lord. Then the third point is people who are materially attached, people who are only interested in sense enjoyment, bodily conception of life, they also cannot understand the Lord. So such people are only destined to wander in the cycle of birth and death. They have no hope to understand the Lord. So this is third point. And then how we can understand the Lord? How we can understand the Lord? We can understand the Lord by doing selfless service. And once we do the selfless service, that is not the guarantee, but by doing selfless service, we attract the mercy of the Lord, and that's how we can know him. Only by his mercy and by selfless service. The combination is like that. One who is surrendered to the Lord through the spiritual master and acquires right knowledge about him can also know the Lord. So those who are surrendered to the Lord, and how to surrender? The best way to surrender is in this world. How we can express that surrender? We can express that surrender by approaching a guru, by approaching a spiritual master, and then acquiring right knowledge about the Supreme Lord through the spiritual master. And how do we acquire that right knowledge? Through the study of scriptures. And that's how we can understand the Lord. And one point when Rakesh ji was mentioning was, he was mentioning about that people having low birth. So that also means that it is not necessary that if we have a high birth, we may be a Brahmana, or we may be a very highly educated person, or maybe we may be a very highly talented person. So that talent, high birth, also we cannot understand the Lord. But if we are surrendered, even though we may have a low birth, Even if we may have a birth of a beast or a bird, like Garuda is a bird, Jatayu was a bird, Lord Hanuman was in the was a Vanara. Even those people who are surrendered but not in the human form, and they also can understand the Lord. So that is how we can understand this, how one can and can't understand the Lord. So again, this discussion happens in the Canto 2 in chapter number 7, where Narad Muni has asked this question from Brahmaji, that who is that person whom you are meditating? And then Brahmaji explains the whole process of creation and compares and mentions that this creation actually is done by the Lord only. I am only his uh, devotee. I am only doing the recreation and also doing that recreation through his guidance. And while that discussion is happening, Brahmaji is giving more and more realizations about his understanding of the Lord. He's saying that you cannot understand the Lord fully. Only by his own mercy, by his own grace, you can understand him. Now, that also reminds me the story of Dhruv Maharaj. So, Dhruv Maharaj was a 5-year-old boy. Through knowledge of his spiritual master, like Narad Muni, he started doing meditation on the Lord in the forest. And by his determination, the Lord appears before him, and the Lord touches his conch on the forehead of Dhruva. And by that touch, Dhruva gets all the knowledge about the Lord, all the knowledge. And just after the Lord touches the conch shell from the forehead of Dhruva, Dhruva starts to recite so many prayers, such deep prayers expressing his knowledge about the Lord. So, how is it happening? It is happening because Dhruva Maharaj performed some selfless devotional service towards the Lord. The Lord became very happy. By his mercy, only Dhruv Maharaj could understand the Lord. So, with these pastimes, also we can understand these different questions. So, that is question number 2. Now, we go to the question number 3, supremacy of Bhagavan and Bhakti. So, establish the supremacy of Bhagavan and Bhakti. Now, this is a little difficult one. So, like to see who can attempt, which brave soul can attempt answering this question. We'll go to the audience here. Who would like to answer this question? This is a little difficult one to explain. So, who is okay? Ishwar Prabhu is attempting it. So good. Yes, Prabhuji, please. All the floor is yours.
What I have conveyed to you, Bhagwan, the absolute Brahman, the personality of Godhead, is the ultimate phase of supreme enjoyer. He is the ultimate supreme enjoyer. He is full of unlimited bliss, fearless, and eternally void of grief and all disturbances. He is complete consciousness as opposed to matter, uncontaminated and without distinctions. The principal primeval cause of all causes and effects, and in whom there is no sacrifice for fruitive activities and illusory energy of any kind. He is the summum bonum, and meeting or realizing him includes the realization of the impersonal Brahman and Paramatma also, other two stages. The personality of Godhead or Bhagwan feature is the third step of Brahman realization, the Brahmajyoti, impersonal Brahman, and Super Soul Paramatma being the other two features. Realizing Bhagwan is the ultimate goal of life, for which an individual being has to actively or actually engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, and thus become the pure and perfect devotee of the Lord. Such devotees do not need any kind of mental speculation to find out the true nature of God or his activities. They need not meditate upon the imaginary or real identity of the Lord, the real perfection of life, therefore, is to be engaged in pure prema bhakti of the Lord, which is all weather and foolproof. Basically, we have to feel God. We have to feel His presence. And a bona fide representative of God, that is the spiritual master, makes things much easier for us if we heed or seek his advice and approach him for that purpose. Thank you.
Okay, I think in general what you spoke, Prabhuji, is certainly good. Probably you have prepared your answer from the purports by Srila Prabhupada. Is that correct?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
Yeah. So what I have noticed is specifically regarding these verses 47 to 49, the description as given by Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam commentaries by him is somewhat different from the commentaries and description given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Bhagavad commentary. When we discuss these verses in my classes, like when we discuss this 7th chapter, these verses in the regular classes, I chose mainly to take the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary compared to Srila Prabhupada's commentary. And why I did so? Because in Srimad Bhagavatam Subodhini also, the book that I hold in my hand and displaying it to you, Gaurang Darshan Prabhu also chose to pick the description of these verses as per Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And the way Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur interprets these 3 verses is slightly, or I would say, very much different from the way Prabhupada ji has interpreted them or expressed them or explained them. Now, you have already heard the way Prabhupada has explained through Ishwarji. Prabhu has given a decent description of it. I will try to describe it from the way Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained it. Now, these 3 series of verses are specifically talking about Paramatma and Brahman. Now, you might think, why all of a sudden discussion about Paramatma and Brahman has appeared in the 7th chapter. So as I mentioned to you, 6th, 7th chapter, 5th, 6th and 7th chapter in 3rd canto is about creation. Brahma Narad Samvad, Brahmaji explaining about the process of creation. Now, while explaining the process of creation, Brahmaji started his description in the 5th chapter, and right from the 5th chapter all the way to the 6th chapter and till maybe good part of the beginning of the 7th chapter, Brahmaji is mainly talking about the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord as his Purush avatar or Leela avatar or Guna avatar. That has been the main topic of discussion in the talks of Brahmaji. But now he briefly explains the topic of Paramatma and Brahman. Why? Because he want to have some contrast between Bhagavan, Paramatma and Brahman. That is why he gives some description about Paramatma and Brahman and then establishes that Bhagavan is the ultimate phase. That's how he builds this topic. So I'm trying to explain this, how this discussion in these 3 verses is connected with the overall theme of the 2nd canto. So first of all, he describes Paramatma, and that's what he describes in the 47th verse. He's saying that Paramatma is always extremely peaceful, Shashwat Prashantam, and then he's fearless, Abhayam, and he bestows knowledge, Pratibodha Matram. He's pure, he's Shuddham, and he's equal to all. Now, how do we understand that this description is actually related to Paramatma? So we can understand it here, it is equal to all. So in the verse also you will see that there is a description about species which are highly evolved species or species which are not so evolved species. So Paramatma is actually present in all the species. Either it is a animal, or he's a evolved human being, or even he's a devata. So Paramatma is there, present in all. So because he's present in all, he's samam. Samam means equal to all. He does not differentiate between the bodies, a lower body or a higher body. He doesn't differentiate. And because he's equal to all, he's neutral, he's peaceful, he's fearless, and he bestows knowledge to the living entity. He gives knowledge from within, like we understand from Bhagavad Gita. The jnana or the smriti or vismriti actually comes from the Paramatma. So that is how the Paramatma has been described in the first part of the 47th verse. Then Brahman is described. Brahman is described. Brahman is described in this verse as he cannot be described by words. If you read the Sanskrit, specifically the way Brahman is described is that he cannot be described by words. Why Brahman cannot be described by words? Because Brahman does not have any attributes, does not have any characteristics. Brahman is simply like formless Brahma Jyoti. It cannot be described in words. So it is pure consciousness. That is how it is. You cannot describe in any other way the word Brahman. So that is the second part. The word Brahman has been described in this verse, in 47th verse. But in the commentary, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions that although Brahman cannot be independently described, but Brahman can be described in relation to Bhagavan, because it is the formless aspect of the Bhagavan. It is the Brahma Jyoti. It is the effulgence of the from the body of Bhagavan. So Brahman can be described in relation to Bhagavan. So Brahman actually is the dependence. Brahman is actually related to Bhagavan, and not Bhagavan is related to Bhagavan, Brahman. So in that spirit, in that sense, Brahman is inferior, or I would say Bhagavan is superior to the conception of Brahman. Brahman is dependent on the Bhagavan for its description, but Bhagavan is not dependent on Brahman on its description. So this is how we can explain the supremacy of Bhagavan based on the verses 47 to 49. Then in the 48th verse, so this is the first 1, 2, and 3. These 3 bullets are mainly from the 47th verse. Then in the 48th verse, it is mentioned that Jnanis and Yogis give up their path. So it is said that Jnanis and Yogis give up their path. And what is the path of the Jnanis and Yogis? It is meditation. So the Jnanis meditate on the formless Brahman, and the Yogis actually meditate upon the Paramatma feature, Paramatma in the heart. So the process of both of Jnanis and Yogis is meditation, dhyan. And on achieving liberation, the Yogis and the Jnanis don't meditate. They leave meditation. They leave their path. But in contrast, in the bhakti process, the path is Shravan Kirtan. The path is Shravan Kirtan. And when the bhakta achieves his goal, which is Preeti, which is Prema, then he does not leave his process. He does not leave his process of Shravan and Kirtan. Rather, on achieving his goal, which is Preeti, which is Prema, his Shravan and Kirtan actually increases. He does it even more. So in that sense, the path of bhakti is superior, because Jnanis and Yogis give up their path. Giving up their path means it is something inferior. Now they don't need that path. But the path of bhakti, because it is still dear to the devotee, he still continues to hold on to that path. So in that spirit, the path of bhakti is superior to the path of Jnanis and Yogis. So that is how it establishes the supremacy of Bhagavan and bhakti in verse number 48. And then in verse number 49, Brahmaji is saying to Narad Muni that ultimately Bhagavan is the ultimate benefactor who bestows the result of all processes, yoga, jnana, and karma. And in the earlier class today, akama sarvo kamo va moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. In that verse also we discuss the same theme. So in the 49th verse, Bhagwan is the ultimate benefactor who bestows the result of all processes. Like that, this has been explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It is difficult to comprehend it from the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but if we make some attempt, some effort, we can understand it also. And the same I have tried to explain it to you here also. I hope that is clear. Yeah.
Prabhuji, I have given all these points only, but still I was not able to comprehend. That's why I didn't come up with I have given all these points, whatever you have given in my answer. But still I could not comprehend. That's why I didn't come forward. But after your explanation, now things are more clear.
Now it is clear? Now it is clear?
Now it is clear. Now it is clear. I have given all these answers, sir.
Yeah.
But still, without getting convinced, I gave this. See, now I am getting convinced.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because that is the way it has been mentioned in Subodhini. But even if you read Subodhini, it is not that Subodh. It is not that easy to comprehend. So you won't believe it. I presented in the class some time ago. But today when I sat myself preparing the slide to comprehend this, it took me at least 45 minutes once again to understand it. I read the commentary again. I heard the class again. So that is how it was a little more tricky. That is why I mentioned that it is not that easy to explain it. Ishwar Prabhu did the easier part. He actually took the purport by Prabhupada and started to explain based on Prabhupada's purport. But this is how I have tried to explain it based on the purports given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It is much more makes sense more now.
So if you have to understand and analyze it like this, then you need to read the purports, understand the Sanskrit, and so on, and that's how you can actually understand it. It actually also helped me by listening to the lecture of some of the other devotees in the past. So it is quite a big exercise. But it is, whatever the exercise may be, the ultimate objective is we get a little purified, we get a little more engaged in devotional service, using our intelligence, remembering the Lord, and trying to reflect upon the topics related to the Lord. So that is the whole objective. Okay, now we go to the next question, which is write a short note on Brahma's darshan of Vaikuntha. Let me do the animation. And then this also, let me do the animation. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so we go to the fourth question, second, third, and fourth. So we'll start it. Darshan of Vaikuntha. I think this is a relatively much easier one. The question is, write a short note of Brahma's darshan of Vaikuntha. This is from the 9th chapter of the 2nd canto. So who would like to share their answer?
Can I, Prabhuji?
Okay, Jeevan Prabhu, please go ahead.
Write short notes on Brahma's darshan of Vaikuntha. First is about the Vaikuntha planet. Vaikuntha is the supreme planet. It is adored by self-realized persons. Then third point is free from suffering, confusion, fear of offenses, the influence of modes of material nature, time and maya. Then Lord is worshipped by Devas and Asuras and Bhaktas. This is about the Vaikuntha planet. Then inhabitants of the Vaikuntha. Glowing self-bluish complexion, lotus eyes, dusty yellow garments, youthful, effulgent, having a pleasing demeanor, four-handed, and described with shining earrings, crowns, and garlands. Then sight of the Vaikuntha planet. Inhabitants traveling with their consorts in shining aeroplanes resembles the sky filled with clouds and flashing lightning. Then Mother Lakshmi. Mother Lakshmi is engaged sometimes in serving the Lord's lotus feet and other times singing the Lord's glories. The Lord of the devotees, Lakshmi, sacrifices and the universe is seen being served by his chief followers such as Sunanda, Nanda, and Prabha and Arhana. Beauty of the Lord. Lord is favorable to his servitors and his very sight is intoxicating and attraction with his smiling face, reddish eyes, yellow garments, earrings, shining crown, forehead and mark of Srivatsa. Lord's energies. The Lord was sitting on his throne, surrounded by his energies like the four principles of Prakriti, Purusha, Mahatattva, and Ego. The 16, the 5 elements, the 10 sense organs, and the mind. And the 5 is the 10 matras. The 6 is the natural opulences, other insignificant energies, and Attasiddhis, etc. Thus, seeing the Lord, Brahma was overwhelmed with joy, in great ecstasy, with tears, he bowed down before the Lord.
Yes, Ru. Thank you very much. So this is a relatively easy question. Prabhuji presented it very nicely. So the idea is, why this discussion about Brahma's darshan of Vaikuntha? What is the context here? The context is mainly Parikshit Maharaj had asked a long list of questions, and again Shukdev Goswami is trying to answer based on the conversation that happened between the Lord and Brahmaji. And this time he set some platform for that conversation. He says that Lord showed Vaikuntha. Why did he show Vaikuntha? Because he was very pleased with Brahmaji's penance. So you remember Brahmaji took birth on the lotus, the navel the lotus coming out from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So when Brahmaji took birth, he saw everywhere there was darkness, could not understand what to do. Then he heard this voice, tapa, tapa, and then he understood, and then he started doing that austerity. So by that austerity, Lord was very pleased, and because he was very pleased, he then showed or gave the darshan of his Vaikuntha planet to Brahmaji. So that is the main question, and now the discussion is about what does the Vaikuntha planet look like. So it is like a supreme planet having self-realized people. There is no suffering, no confusion, no offenses. It is no influence of modes, time and Maya. Then in this planet, Brahmaji saw that Lord was being worshipped by Devas, Asuras and Bhaktas. Also saw very special inhabitants of Vaikuntha planet. They had glowing complexion, lotus eyes, youthful, effulgent, four-handed, pleasing demeanor. Then he also saw that the inhabitants were traveling with their consorts in airplanes. Then he also saw Mother Lakshmi engaged in serving the Lord, glorifying the Lord, and also saw that the Lord was served by his chief followers. Some names are given in the description. Lord was sitting on his throne surrounded by his energies. And then this is how the description of Vaikuntha planet is given. Now here we can see that Brahmaji not only saw the Lord, but so many other things besides the Lord he also saw. So that is something maybe a striking feature that we need to recognize. Okay, now we go to the Chatushloki Bhagavatam question. Write a brief note on Chatushloki Bhagavatam. This is a main question here in the second canto, main theme here, very important. So we will give opportunity to maybe couple of bhaktas, couple of devotees to explain this. So maybe let us begin with maybe Rakesh ji, would you like to explain the first verse?
Prabhuji, with my little knowledge, I will try.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Response to Brahma's 4 questions about Lord's form, his energy, how he plays with his energies, and how to carry out his instruction without getting entangled with pride and worship.
Very nice.
Lord speaks Chatushloki. And as a prelude to Chatushloki, he says that I will speak about Jnanam, secret knowledge about my form, Vijnanam, a realization of that form, Tarahasyam, Prema Bhakti, and Tadangam, Sadhan Bhakti. So, Chatushloki 1. In this verse, Lord says, the personality of Godhead only existed in the beginning, before the creation of anything else. This creation is I only. After the annihilation, what remains will also be I only. Then in purport, Prabhupada ji says that in this verse the word ahem is used 3 times, emphasizing individual personality of Godhead. Prabhupada quotes Nityo Nityanam from Kathopanishad to show Lord is the original source of creation. And further says the Lord, he does not exist alone, but Vaikuntha exists with him. And then he says the Lord exists personally, but works, means creation, maintenance and destruction through his energies. Then he says the Lord may not be visible in the material world in his personal form, but he can be seen by devotional service. Both personal and impersonal aspect of the Lord exist, but one must aim for the personal aspect, since that is the root cause of all. Then Chatushloki 2.
Wait. Chatushloki 1, that is good. So Rakesh ji and my answer matches till this point. I think there are few other points. Chatushloki 1 establishes the sambandh jnana between Lord and his energies. What is the sambandh jnana? Energies means the spiritual and the material, which means Lord is the source of the spiritual and the material energies. That is the sambandha between the Lord and his energies. And then the other point is, Rakesh ji mentioned the use of word I is significant. It shows that the absolute truth is a person. Another point is, now Chatushloki 2 we will discuss. So Rakesh ji, good job, very nice. Now we go to the other devotees. Maybe anyone else would like to explain the Chatushloki 2. Maybe Jeevan Prabhu, would you like to do it?
Prabhuji, I have some visitors suddenly.
Okay, no worries. Okay, then either maybe Ishwar ji would like to do it, or maybe once again go to Rakesh ji. Ishwar ji would like to do it. I think he's also not available. Rakesh ji, please continue with the Chatushloki 2. Yeah.
Without relation to the Lord, if anything appears to be of any value, it has no reality. It is just Lord's illusory energy, just as the reflection which appears to be in darkness. In the purport, Sri Prabhupada says, if anything seems to exist without any connection to the absolute truth, it is due to illusory energy. Whatever we see around us, if we fail to see the connection of the Lord, we are covered by Maya. For example, source of sunlight, moonlight, fire, electricity is Brahm Jyoti, which is emanating from Lord's divine form. Vedanta Sutra also confirms that everything comes from and connected to the Lord. Maya has 2 functions. Number 1, covering, that hides the reality. Means, for example, when it is dark, we cannot see the snake present in the room. And number 2, confusing. Confusing means distorts the reality. When it is dark, we may imagine that there is a snake. Then to avoid traps of Maya, one should take enlightenment from Brahm Sampradaya and learn from spiritual scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Further, two types of Maya, Mahamaya and Yogmaya. The function of Mahamaya is to deviate us from the God. And function of Yogmaya helps us to connect with the Lord.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I have described it in a little similar, different way. I have not elaborated so much. So first of all, briefly, I have mentioned the what the verse says. Whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, it has no reality. It is my Maya. And I explained this point in the class also. So if we have this mobile, and if we see this mobile not as Lord's energy, we don't see the connection between this mobile and the Lord. That what means is we are actually in Maya. This mobile is not Maya, but our perception of things, if it is not related with the Lord, then it is Maya. Then the Chatushloki 2 shows how to realize the Lord. When one sees everything in relation to the Lord, one is considered realized in the science of God. So again, this is talking about Sambandha Gyan. Rather, you can say a little more deeper Sambandha Gyan at the realization level. This realization actually requires the grace of the Lord. Without the grace of the Lord, this realization does not come. Everything belongs to the Lord. Like we have Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj was a pure devotee, realized at a prema level or a bhava level. And then if you ask, is this pillar, the Lord is there? Yes, it is there in the pillar. If you ask us, we don't see that. So it is this realization actually requires the grace of the Lord, and that is what we are aspiring for. That is what we are trying to do by doing this sadhan bhakti. We are trying to please the Lord, and that so that the grace of the Lord can appear in our heart. So Chatushloki also talks about Sambandha Jnana. Now we talk about Chatushloki 3. So Rakeshji, please elaborate on the Chatushloki 3.
First, I will read the verse.
Sorry?
Lord says, first I will read the verse.
Okay.
Lord is saying, O Brahma, please know that just as the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time they do not enter into it. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created and at the same time I am outside of everything. In the purport, Prabhupada says that there is rahasyam aspect in this versa. This verse hints at prema bhakti. Talks about the rahasyam indirectly. And Lord himself is pleased about his indirect mode of description. But Lord does not allow himself to be taken cheaply and thus not manifest to superficial or inimical people. Lord has spoken the highest truth to Brahma, but spoken it indirectly. And there is a big mystery and playing his flute in Goloka as well. This mystery is the most confidential part of the knowledge of the Supreme, and it cannot be understood by the intellectual pursuits. It can only be understood by Prema Bhakti. And mysterious Bhakti Yoga may be received and understood only through the chain of disciplic succession. And love of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life.
Yes, very nice. So this is a very cryptic verse, not easily to relate it directly to Prema Bhakti. The topic is that as the ingredients of material creation exist outside the material creation, but also within the material creation. Similarly, the Supreme Lord also exists outside and within the devotee. Outside the devotee, he exists in Golok, Vrindavan, and within the devotee, he exists in the heart of the devotee. Now, if you remember or if you try to connect this thing with the classes that we are having on Bhava Bhakti in Bhakti Samrat Sindhu, so you may understand that while doing sadhan bhakti, by the grace of the Lord, when the bhav or the bhakti appears in the heart of the devotee, by the mercy of the Lord, then what happens? Then the devotee actually gets the darshan of the Lord within the heart. So the Lord is there in the heart by his mercy, by his Vishuddha Sattva, by his Antaranga potency, by his Antaranga Shakti. He is there in the heart. But at the same time, he is also there in the Golok Vrindavan. So the devotee can see the Lord in his heart, and the pastimes of the Lord in the heart. All those pastimes are getting created in the Golok Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, but he can see in the heart also. So this is the rahasya. This cannot be achieved, this stage of the realization of the Lord as a person present in the heart or in the Golok Vrindavan, cannot happen if you follow the process of Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and so on. Because in the process of Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, it is not possible to realize the Lord like this. It is only possible by the process of bhakti. That is what is being mentioned here. And in a very indirect way, it is being hinted. And as Rakesh ji mentioned that this Prema Bhakti, or the goal, actually has been kept very, very confidential in the Vedic literature. It is not revealed by the Lord openly everywhere. Only at very small, limited places, or maybe by the grace of our great acharyas, we are able to understand these things. So this is the rahasya. This is the rahasya. This is rahasya, and this talks about the prayojan, the goal of the devotee. Okay, now the fourth verse, Prabhu, please explain.
A person who is searching after the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it in all circumstances, in all spaces and time, and both directly and indirectly. Prabhupada says ultimate goal of inquiry is to inquire for unfolding the mystery of Bhakti Yoga. Then the jigyasa should be done through disciplic succession. And one need a guru for this. Purpose of Varnashram is also said to be to serve the Lord.
Okay, I think, Prabhuji, in the interest of time, I think these covers all the main points of this verse, because we need not elaborate a lot on each of the Chatushloki, because we have to answer only one question, and we need to answer the important part. So again, the point is, how do we attain this prema? How do we attain this priti? It is mainly about by practicing bhakti, and that is the subject matter of the Chatushloki 4. And how do we do it? This is done by studying of scriptures through the spiritual master. So the job of spiritual master is mainly to provide the knowledge of the scriptures. Now, that is what we are trying to do in these classes. So Chatushloki is covered. I hope that gives you a good idea of Chatushloki. Huh? Now we go to the last question of our class, which is the define the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the need for describing the first 9 topics? Now let me ask if devotees other than Rakesh ji would like to talk about it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Prabhuji, please. Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam is a complete Vedic text that contains answers to all questions regarding the personality of Godhead, the Supreme Being, the Supreme Fountainhead, the Absolute Truth, Bhagwan, the Summum Bonum. It is a postgraduate study in matters science of God. It's a godly compilation of 10 topics or 10 divisions of statements regarding number 1, the creation of universe, number 2, sub-creation, planetary systems, protection of the Lord, the creative impetus, change of manus, science of God, returning home back to Godhead, liberation, and finally the summum bonum. To isolate the transcendence of summum bonum, or appreciate the absolute truth fully and minutely, we need to know the characteristics and symptoms of the first 9 topics. Through Vedic inferences, direct explanations, or summary explanations given by our great sages. The foremost general conclusion is that Lord Krishna, uh, Param Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagwan are synonymous. Lord Krishna is Bhagwan Swam. He is the ultimate source of all energies, and Srimad Bhagavatam has been prepared to explain Krishna or the science of Krishna. In the first canto of Bhagavatam, this truth is well indicated in the question and answers by Suta Goswami and great sages like Sonaka. In the first and second chapter of the same, it has been well explained. The third chapter makes it more explicit, and so also the fourth chapter. In the second canto, the absolute truth as personality of Godhead is further emphasized, and the clarity clinched is Krishna is the Supreme Lord. The summary of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses, Chatusloki, is very succinct on this. The same has been further highlighted by Brahmaji in Brahma Samhita, also concluded in the third canto, besides the elaborate explanation of 10th and 11th cantos. In the 12th also the same is explained and concluded. Lord Krishna is the ultimate Samam Bonam, or the ultimate source of all energy. Bhagavad Gita also says, it affirms that he is the Purushottama, source of everything, shelter of all, and it is all entities, including the super soul, Paramatma, and Supreme Brahman. The Supreme Person is not impersonal. He is distinctly a Nara or a person. Also, we can call him Narayana. The whole creation depends on the movement of Godhead, and he is the cause of all causes. And to know the transcendental form of the Lord, one has to be transcendentally situated. The Godhead, as maintainer of all in the universe, appears in different incarnations after establishing the creation, and thus he reclaims all kinds of conditioned souls amongst the humans, the non-humans, or the demigods. The Lord is not only the creator and destroyer of material manifestation of his energies, he has a feature of Ananda also, that is his pleasure feature, and this feature is understood by the pure devotee only, not by others, like the impersonalists, the yogis, or the mystics. The pure devotees of the Lord take part in the direct pleasure potential of the Lord by factual reciprocation of loving service. The Lord in his abode, Vaikuntha, always remains with his associates and enjoys transcendental loving service by his pure devotees in different transcendental humors. A pure devotee, thus, during the manifestation of the creation, can and should undergo practice of devotional service of the Lord to be able to qualify for entering into the kingdom of God, and can ensure thus direct association with Him. Srimad Bhagavatam offers a great facility in this regard to both the materialists and transcendentalists alike. It is bound to help them develop supreme consciousness and know the summum bonum in all essential details and dynamics of God realization. Let's all obey the Supreme Lord, whose hand is in everything without exception. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much. My feeling is that there was some explanation from your part, probably which was not the subject matter of the question. Like you elaborated a lot in the end on some other things, but the way I have presented it is a little different. It is mainly focusing on the 10 topics of Bhagavatam. So I saw that you have listed the 10 topics of Bhagavatam, but I also tried to provide some brief explanation of that topic. So like, for example, Sarga is the first topic, which means primary creation. This topic is about elementary creation of 16 items of matter. This creation is done by Mahavishnu. So like the ingredients that are created, that is Sarga. Visarga means after the primary creation has been done, now you need to do the detailing of the primary creation. That is Visarga, the secondary creation. This is done by Brahmaji and by using the ingredients from the Sarga. So he uses the ingredients made available because of the Mahavishnu, and then he does the secondary creation. Then Sthanam means planetary system, means the geography of the universe. What happens in this is the different living entities are placed in different planets. So that is Sthanam. The fourth is Poshanam. Poshanam means protection. Protection in the sense that those people, those living entities who are trying to follow the instruction of the Lord, and the Lord provides him protection. This is the causeless mercy of the Lord. So that is Poshanam. That is nourishment, you can say. Uti. Uti means creative impetus for activity. Like we hear about the topics of Varnashrama, like for example, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So different people have different inclinations. So living entities desire for fruitive work. That is Uti, creative impetus for activity. Manvantara means Manu avatars. So each of these Manu avatars, they provide instruction to the humankind about the occupational duties. Like you might have heard of this literature called Manu Smriti. So Manu Smriti is mainly about how a human being should lead his life. All these guidance is given in these instructions. Then the seventh one is Ishanukatha. Ishanukatha means the science of God. Science of God means the activities of the Lord with his devotees during his descents, like various avatars. It is mainly about how to instruct humanity. Like for example, we have Lord Ramchandra, who comes as the ideal human being. So through his life, he imparts a lot of teachings to the humankind. That is, or understand the science of God. So because of his avatars, these different avatars, they instruct the humanity about the science of God. Then Nirodha. Nirodha means winding up. It is annihilation. Universe is annihilated when the entire cosmos, along with the living entities it contains, is again withdrawn into Mahavishnu. So the living entities once again enter into the body of Mahavishnu. Mukti means liberation. Liberation means now you have a permanent body, you have a permanent form. You don't have to take birth again and again. You give up changeable bodies. And finally, Ashraya. Ashraya means the supreme shelter. That is Sri Krishna. Is the supreme reservoir of everything, creation, maintenance, and destruction. So this is Ashraya. Now the second part of the question was, what is the need for describing the first 9 topics? And that I have answered in one line. Factual understanding of 9 topics will assist our understanding of Lord Krishna. If one does not understand the first 9, one won't understand the power of 10th. So if you directly go to the 10th canto, where Lord is holding the Govardhan hill and Lord is doing pastimes with the gopis and doing all kind of activities. So if we don't understand the Lord based on the first 9 topics, we might not able to appreciate the 10th topic, the Ashraya. We might think that he's simply acting like a playboy, or maybe simply these are some fantastic stories about maybe some I would say fictional stories of Lord lifting some superhuman activities, lifting over the hill, etc. But if you understand the Lord systematically in Bhagavatam, one by one, and then you can appreciate that he's the Ashraya Tattva. The whole 9 topics are actually mainly to describe the 10th topic. So this is how I have attempted, mainly keeping myself only to the subject matter of the question and not extending it far beyond that. So with that, maybe I think we come to the conclusion of our class today. I hope this was useful. I am still in the preparation of the multiple choice question. Most likely we are going to discuss multiple choice question in the next class, Sunday. We'll probably at least give you 15-16 question on that, and you need to practice on that, and then we'll do that. And after that, I have noticed that the next class will be on Tattva Sandarbha. Devotees have voted unanimously in the favor of Tattva Sandarbha. I think in one group I got 12 votes, in another I got, I think, 4 versus 3, and in another group I got 1 versus 2. So overall 12 plus 4, 16 plus 1, 17 versus, I would say, 2 plus 3, 5 and 1, 6. So 17 versus 6 in the favor of Tattva Sandarbha. So I have also posted one article from Back to Godhead magazine on the Shat Sandarbha, these 6 books. So I request devotees to kindly go through that article. That will raise your interest in the topic of Sandarbhas, because I would like to say that Sandarbhas are the most systematic work on Srimad Bhagavatam by the by Jiva Goswami. So that is really going to be a very fascinating study of Bhagavatam based on the Sandarbhas. So still I would like to keep it open that still after maybe few classes, if you don't find it interesting, we can once again go back to the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam from 3rd canto. So we will again have this polling after maybe 2 months or 3 months time, where we will once again take the feedback from the class. If you find that the Sandarbhas are not interesting enough, we'll once again resume our study of Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd canto. I'll kind of privately study Sandarbhas in my own time, not to force upon my intention upon you, but I just wanted to check and take this as a trial, so that if somebody is saying that this is the most systematic and the most exact study of Srimad Bhagavatam, then why not study it before studying Bhagavatam rather than studying after Bhagavatam? So that is the whole intention of mine, and really thankful that you are supporting my endeavor. And with that, we can conclude this class. Any last thoughts or questions? Please let me know.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
How do asuras seen in Goloka Vrinda?
I was also kind of wondering when I was mentioning that, but that was mentioned in the verse. Maybe asuras have, in the past life, they might have been asuras, and now they have perfected their life and probably reached Vaikuntha.
But no
That-
change in their nomenclature, because they are good people there. They should be taken
Correct.
by the...
Correct. Asuras means those are not favorable to the Lord. Those
Right,
are generally mentioned as asuras.
right.
Let me reflect upon it. But
Many,
very good
many
question.
asuras were favorable. Bali Maharaj, and
Oh yeah.
then
Oh, very good answer. Yes.
Vrittasura.
Vritrasura.
Yeah.
Prabhu, Vritrasura.
And then
Vritrasura and
there was Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad
He
Maharaj was
was
also
asura.
also categorized as asura, because he
So I
was
think
born.
whether a demigod or a demon, if one devotes himself to and surrenders himself to the Lord, then he is fit to go.
Yes. So Vrindavaneshwari Mataji saved me by answering this question. So I hope that was satisfactory, Prabhuji.
Very, very nice. And salute to my classmate. Brilliant
Yeah.
answer.
Okay, good.
Old is gold, Prabhu, sometimes. But
Old is
yes,
gold. Okay, good. Okay, so nice discussion. Thank you very much. Let us once again connect in the next class. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.